Brian, you look like some kind of hillbilly. That's what they said. So, guys, the meme coin that I was talking about yesterday is called NENU AI. And when I picked it up, it was like 1,044th position on CoinGecko. Now it's like 830th position. So it's moving up pretty fast. Probably went up about 80% in the last 24 hours. And the reason why I liked that one was because they had deployed it on all these different chains. So it's on like 17 different EVMs, which makes it obviously a lot more accessible to people. Now, when I look at some of these different charts of kind of the old dogs, the dogecoins, the Shiba Inus, the Flokis, all that kind of stuff, some of these charts just look like, well, how high could it go? And when I look at the max chart on something like Shiba Inu, honestly, it looks like it's just getting started, to tell you the truth. But same thing with Dogecoin. It's like, well, I could just easily see it just going to 24 cents, which obviously isn't even close to its all-time high of over 70 cents. And let's not forget, with all the inflation that's happened in the last couple of years, Bitcoin would really have to get to around $80,000 to even make up for the inflation, since we hit the $69,000 all-time high in 2021. And that's how bad it's been. If you've been to the grocery store or anything else, yeah, it's, you know, it's just kind of gotten out of control. So now that being said, obviously if it goes over 69,000, we would consider that an all-time high, but the money isn't worth as much. And I do think it is interesting what Michael Saylor said. I did laugh, you know, and he's stayed consistent with this whole thing, that somebody asked him, well, when is he going to sell the Bitcoins? And he says, well, I don't have a plan of selling. Why would I sell the winner just to buy a loser? I thought that was interesting. And he said, this is the exit strategy. So at some point, crypto does take over. You know, that's something we've been saying for 8-10 years. At some point, it does take over. Now, what that looks like, it's really hard to say. But obviously, these assets are becoming valuable enough, and we have the ability to lever against them without getting some kind of approvals from some third party like a bank or something like that. It's just in code, and this is hugely valuable because, you know, and this has been going on for a while, obviously with DeFi, that you can lever against your Bitcoin, your Dogecoin, your Litecoins, you know, all these different assets, and you could buy whatever with it. You could buy a house, you could buy cars, you could live off of it, and, you know, if you had enough, you know, obviously the appreciation of the underlying asset is going to go up enough to allow you to just kind of perpetuate that. It's almost kind of like a reverse mortgage, if you've ever heard of that concept, if you're in the United States. You know, you're able to pull money out of your house and live off of it, is essentially for retired people. But most people say don't do that, you know. But you know, it gets to a point where a lot of people aren't going to have a choice, because imagine somebody retiring at 60 years old, and by the time they make it to 90 years old, is their money going to be worth anything? And not at this rate, not at this kind of inflation. So you know, it's hard to say what's going to happen with that. But as far as, like, you know, where we're at in this cycle, because I had a friend that, you know, he'd kind of checked out, and then suddenly now he's like re-engaged. And this has happened to 3 or 4 of these guys, which I mentioned this before, that a lot of my friends that have been involved in crypto in past cycles were kind of disinterested even a week or 2 ago. Now they can't ignore it. And one of the guys, he was like, well, this has been going on for a while, you know, this has to kind of have a major pullback and stuff like that. But I'm not really kind of seeing that at this point. It's like everybody's in a feeding frenzy, trying to get money in, trying to figure out where they have money. I mean, I was sitting there doing that, and digging through old wallets, and you know, also just kind of looking at old projects that I sort of, you know, still had some stuff stacked, and looking at, like, well, what's this worth now? What, you know, can I pull some of this and put it over to some of these memes? Can I reallocate this? And so people are trying to make different moves, maybe loading up credit cards, maybe throwing some additional money that they wouldn't have otherwise pulled out of their bank accounts. And you know, people are making moves. So that's happening. And then we see the levering on the money markets. Out on Venus, it's still the stable coins, to borrow stable coins, you're still talking over 20% APR to borrow like USDT and USDC. And that tells me people are looking for money, they're trying to get in the action, and they're levering out. So, and you know, you have hold periods a lot of times depending on how you pull money into stuff like Kraken or Coinbase. And this can be annoying. You know, you just be sitting around like, oh, you can't move this for 7 days or 9 days or whatever. This stuff gets annoying. So there's a lot of coins waiting in the chamber. I can tell you that. So that, you know, this perpetuates just obviously a few more weeks for sure. And you know, I would say it goes well beyond that, because these people that have been in past cycles, you know, they already kind of know the gig. They've already been involved in this. They already understand crypto to some respect. What about the people who never quite got pulled in a previous cycle, but thought about it, but it didn't really have the money to allocate? Maybe this time they're like, you know what, I'm not going to miss out on this, because you know, some of the people just watched the stuff go up and up and up and kept going up and up. And, you know, so at some point, some additional people get pulled in, and obviously the baby boomers going in through the retirement accounts and able to purchase this ETF, they feel more comfortable with that. So that's going to ultimately provide additional support, most likely, because they're going to keep seeing that these prices are going off, and they're going to see on business news that it's being reported on again more heavily, and you know, they're going to throw something at it most likely. So, and we just know how this kind of stuff happens. It's when it starts to crank up, there's more and more and more and more opportunities. So yeah, guys, I mean, you know, take a look at that NENU meme project. It's, you know, again, I think the value in it, the reason I thought that it was interesting, obviously it was low on CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap, all that kind of stuff, and it was already listed on a bunch of these DeFi exchanges. There were liquidity in the liquidity pools, and you know, it was a low price point, newer project, and then they deployed it on all these different chains and continued to keep adding chains. So I think it's, as it cranks up, suddenly it hits trending on these different things like, you know, birdeye.sol or, you know, Deck Screener, that kind of stuff. It starts popping up there. It starts getting on trending because it's cranking up so much. And then people think, well, what is this one? You know, and then maybe they chase after it and throw a little bit at it. So it's something to look at. That being said, stuff is starting to crank up. So one of the things that happened on Steemit today is the price got over the point to where it's going to start printing Steam-backed dollars again. So when you earn on a blog post through steemit.com, you're going to get the Steam-backed dollars as well, 50-50, Steam Power and Steam-backed dollars. And guess what? The Steam-backed dollar is not worth $1. It's worth like $4.30. And going back to the 2017 bull run, and then into early 2018, the Steam-backed dollar got clear up to $16. So it might have said you earned $10 on a post, or let's say it said you earned $1 on a post. Let's say, for just, you know, example's sake, you earned $1. That was actually, you earned like $16 essentially. Well, you really earned like 8 or 9, because half of it was paid in like Steam Power, and then half of it was paid in the Steam-backed dollar, and the Steam-backed dollar was worth $16 instead of $1. So that being said, you're earning a multiple of what it is, and you know, so that is one way. So when I post, a lot of times I'm posting a Hive, I'm posting a Steem, and I'm posting a Blur. So you know, you kind of crank this stuff up, and then that kind of gives you some more action to play with, and a lot of that stuff will end up kind of pumping later, because as this bull market cranks up, people want to kind of like secure the bag or kind of get in a position to crank and print money. So we'll see what happens with that. And I'm looking into a lot of different things. And I've tested some of these other apps. I haven't really reported on it, but there are a couple apps where, you know, you got Sweatcoin where you can earn from your steps. And if that pumps, you can earn from your steps. The issue with that was it was almost like you had to pay kind of for this premium membership to really kind of crank up and get paid a lot more for your steps. And it never kind of seemed like maybe that was quite worth it, but maybe it does become worth it. So anyway, guys, that being said, what are you guys doing to earn more crypto or get more crypto in? What memes are you guys looking at? Follow me on all social media at Brian Phobos, YouTube, Instagram, Steemit, Twitter, Hive, D2, Blur, everywhere.